Welcome back everybody into another daily recap. Today is the 16th of August and as you're going to see, we're going to see the price action of gold during the New York session, which didn't do much, especially if we think about that tomorrow we're going to have the FOMC minutes, we're going to have some retail sales data. So today I'm not saying that it was expected for the price action to be this slow, but it actually ended up being very slow. As you can see here on the 1 minute, price moved into a range of 60 pips, but as you can see, there was basically never a trend. The only trending part that we saw, was this one, and we're going to see more about it. As you can see here, this was the pre-New York charting up, so we identify the demand area based on the previous lows that also goes back to these lows on the left from yesterday, and identify that this was the possible pullback end for the price to continue up to New York, and as well identifying the supply areas that held pretty strong during the last few days, couple of days, and for possible rejections as well. So as you can see, 1782 was never reached, and I was looking for buys from 1774. So as you can see, price with the New York Open went above, but I mean, there was no clean bullish trend, and I would have not entered buys here anyway. What I was looking for was buys at the demand area. So when I saw this very aggressive, I call it a vacuum, because if you look at the price action before, this very strong bearish and the following huge bullish candles coming from a demand area, to me it means that this was a huge imbalance in liquidity because of price, the positions of sellers were of buyers that here were fighting. There was no buyer at 1774, so it created a huge, probably even here, huge imbalance to where the orders of buys were. So 1772, 1771, that's where the orders were filled very aggressively, and that's why I was looking for a break and retest in continuation up. This is a buy setup. Of course, there's not really candle setup, but it's to sort of save my idea that, okay, for me now is buys. As you can see, the first entry would have gone like from here. I think it was like 15-20 pips, not even. Sorry. From here would have been 20 pips, so not enough for my range, and it would have gone from here 20 pips, so it would have taken me out anyway of my trade idea. But what was most important, yes, of course, this stop loss, if this stop loss was actually placed below the previous candle, below the demand, the idea will still be in profit. But I don't know, I mean, 20 pips for this idea was more than enough. But anyway, what I was looking for was that, okay, now the price is going bearish. I was sort of switching bias, thinking, okay, but this looks like a sell, because we are breaking, retesting, demand can turn supply. But what was holding me back was, okay, no, Stefano, you can't sell at so close to a demand. You must look for buys because we are at a demand, and unless we have a demand clearly broken, or unless we are looking for sells over here, that you can't sell here. And that's turned out to be a very good idea, because then the price was sort of making new higher lows and higher highs on the 1 minute, higher lows and higher highs, bouncing from the demand, making a new higher low at a new PPL. If you notice, lately I've been putting much emphasis on that for possible price to continue bullish with the liquidity, with the demand liquidity. And that's it. Yes, was not perfect because price probably needed to react again to these previous lows, but this time 20 pips was covering these lows and sort of the full demand area. And there you go. Very, very choppy price action, but you reach your 45 pips. You see, price is not good, but it's still making new higher lows and higher highs. You have this reaction at these previous highs. This one is not breaking support, so that's fine. Even if you waited a little bit more at the 10 a.m. candle Eastern, price would have given you another attempt. Or if you were holding this, you had a further opportunity to take your buys scalps, as you can see here. And this is the 10 a.m. candle, basically the end of the pullback, and this would have still given you 40 pips. But look at the price action. It's choppy. We are in a order block. So apart from scalps, that's why also I would say that 45 pips is good enough compared instead of waiting for 60, because the price action is not really showing you that today is the day. So better to take 45 pips than take a break-even trade and say, okay, yeah, you see, I missed. I mean, you would have got at break-even, but it's better to take 45 pips and take a sure win, also to cover the previous loss if you took it, and to just better 45 than 0. And you cover your previous 20 and you have plus 25. So that's very, very good. Still, this entry, as I'm looking at it, of course, it's quite high because from the supply, from the demand area. And but this was too fast, and unless you had a buy limit over here, you could have not entered. But anyway, that's basically what happened today. That's basically it. Let me show you what is expected tomorrow. So there you go. Tomorrow we have some important stuff, which is the retail sales month over month. They are expected to drop a little bit, 0.9%, and a little bit of the control group. But most importantly, we have some Fed speakers. And at 8, this is of course Central European time, we have the FOMC minutes, which will show, we'll talk about their FOMC meeting of last month. So tomorrow probably I won't be trading, but I will be doing the recap at the end of it. And also Thursday and Friday I will not be trading as well. So for me this week ends up with 0 trades, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It's important to, and one thing that I'm learning is not to rush trades. That's what I'm really focusing on, because okay, we are in this range. I could have taken one buy, one sell, one buy, one sell, and maybe expect this to drop below, so then out at break even, or maybe out at break even this one without taking partials and having one loss, 2 losses, and that would be very messy. Instead, I'm really working on my patience, on my discipline, and look at now, nice, the demand worked, okay, and so that's still working and improving my in order to with an attempt to master my craft over time. As you can see, this one has been 50 pips overall, of 54. I mean, if the entry was with a pending order in the middle of the range, then you would have got your 60 pips. But still, then it's not something that you can predict. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow for the recap.